So there have been a number of new risks, evolving risks, typologies, and to try and explain this, the best thing is probably to go to an example. And I guess one of the most critical examples, and an example that affects Asia significantly, is trafficking. So human trafficking, anti-slavery. And of course, all of this is done as a business. I mean, it's a very, very profitable business. The criminals will be making billions of dollars of profit every year. Yeah? I mean, obviously the costs are minimal. And all this money gets laundered through banks. It has to. It gets through the financial system. That's what the criminals are targeting. But it looks different. It looks different to types of money laundering, other types of money laundering. The amounts of money could be very small potentially, right? And you also need to look at where perhaps bank accounts are being misused. So criminals might set up bank accounts for trafficked people and then operate those bank accounts themselves. And so obviously there are different typologies that this creates. And financial institutions, insurance companies and the like need to be aware of these evolving typologies. Otherwise they're going to put themselves in risk. Companies need to keep up to date with KYC in terms of the lists of organizations, but also the types of monitoring that they do and ensuring that they have up-to-date, robust onboarding type policies and procedures. And this is under so much scrutiny from regulators, and we're not going to see this diminish. This is only going to continue to increase. Obviously, there can be errors within the organization, and clearly not everything works all the time. And criminals are smart, right? They know who to target, who they think are perceived as weaknesses, and obviously, as we've mentioned, the risks evolve and change. Yeah, clearly, criminals work out how to get around the systems that exist. So that's why the systems need to continue to evolve. Companies need to understand what the best practices are, and it's not best practices won't stay still. They will continue to evolve. So it's always an iterative process. Right? You need to ensure that you at least have the frameworks in place, and then as your risks develop, whether because of your own organization entering into or selling new products, entering into new markets, being acquisitive and acquiring other operations, and then, as I said, as the typologies change, you need to keep up to date. And of course, it is a phenomenal effort. This type of risk that's new to you, cryptocurrency, good example, then you need to plug in the module that you didn't have before in your compliance framework so as to address that. And you may have controls or policies already in place that will help you to mitigate some of those risks, but it may be a case that you need to design new or additional policies and procedures, add to the framework so as to address those new risks. Fintech is one of these, it is a classic risk because, increasingly, if you think about it, the difficulties in understanding who your customer is. If you can pay something with your phone and all you had to do was register onto an app to do it, well, you didn't see anybody, right? You didn't go into the bank and open your account. They didn't eyeball you and look at your passport. You opened an account and you were able to transact. Of course, that creates more risks. Right? And obviously those types of risks need to be mitigated, reduced. Otherwise, criminals or otherwise could use that to their advantage. Transparency International's index, of course, you will see that from the emerging types of markets, there tends to be a higher risk potential for bribery and corruption in particular. And obviously a lot of that is around when you're establishing new businesses. When you need to obtain new licenses or get permission to develop on land or use natural products, etc., then of course all of this brings you into touch points with organizations or government bodies that may bring you into heightened risks of bribery or corruption. So you need to understand this, you need to be too alive to it. And it's never the solution to think, well, it's just the cost of doing business, that's the way it's done here. That's never going to work. With the increasing regulation and enforcement, not just from the US or from UK and Europe, but increasingly within Asia, you're going to run into problems.